Jam with Sam.
Thank you.
Good evening, Akansha. Welcome to Jam with Sam and the 20th episode of The Indian Networker.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So we'll get to the chase. You began how many years back? I think last 20 years you've been having a career. Your first job, after that, and after that, those three jobs which you saw put up over there. You can just briefly describe that.
So actually, incidentally, none of them were jobs.
Okay.
So yeah, all of them were my clients. They're all clients.
Okay.
So I'm glad if they think that I worked as well as one of their employees.
Okay.
So that's a good thing. But I started about 14 years back. And I did a brief stint with an FMCG company. And at that point in time, I was working with a brand called Iva, which was doing extremely well in the country. And it overtook almost every Indian brand and every other international brand you could think of. I joined them as a brand manager. Thereafter, I moved on to Oneida for strategic launch of their brand across tier 2 cities.
Okay.
And then
So that is that Devil's Envy that...
That's right, that's right. Mr. Ashok Roy designed that entire campaign. And then that's it, the entrepreneurship bug bit.
Okay.
We weren't called entrepreneurs in that time, we were called freelancers. For the longest time, my family didn't understand that. They thought, acha, you know, naya shauq hai, it's fine, you know. 6 mahine mein, she'll be fine, she'll get over it and she'll get back to a stable job. Because you remember, we were talking of times when stability was very important. Parents said you have to be stable. You know, my father worked with the Reserve Bank of India for all his life. He joined there as a first grade officer, he retired from there. So we were talking of those times when, you know, this was considered to be a very unstable line today. So yeah, that's how it is.
So tell us something about Azure and how is it different from other PR and branding companies?
Sure. So Azure, I must tell you how we even thought of putting together Azure. It's so funny, you know, today you have so many specialists, quote unquote, you know, and they say, isko green kar do, isko thoda magenta kar do. I was sitting with my creative head and we said, acha naam kya hona chahiye? So he said, A bhi hona chahiye, Z bhi hona chahiye, you know. We Googled, Azure showed up, we said, you know, let's go with Azure. Those were days of simple understanding and, you know, uncomplicated words and jargons, and branched out very young. We weren't sure of what the challenges were, and I think sometimes in life, it's lovely when you don't know what the challenges are. Because the moment you get exposed to challenges, it somewhere intimidates you, and you begin to wonder if this is the right time to, you know, take the plunge. Should I really be doing this? What are its scope, you know? We didn't know anything. I didn't know how to make a business plan. I just started because I thought I could explore much more and I could use my time more fruitfully, and I wanted more challenging stuff. We've been around now for about 14 years, 13 and a half, and well, it's been an amazing journey because if you look at the kind of industries and products we've handled, right from IT product and services, professional services, fashion, entertainment, sports, you name it, we've done it, from a fluorine packaging company to a Deloitte Consulting to, you know, companies which make nuts and bolts for telecom tower. How interesting can that really be? But then that's the challenge, right? Because you go to people like those and they say we don't know any better how to brand ourselves. I think how we are truly and significantly different from typical agencies is we do all the slog work. We do all the work behind all the glamour and media and large hoardings and looking up and looking down and any of that business. What we really do is help you reach your business goals. So we try and understand what can I do for you in terms of communication, internal, external, aligning everything to your business goals.
Okay.
So that's really the business we are in.
So one of your customers you can name in a success story, which one of your like major success stories.
Yeah, so actually all clients are very close to your heart because you become so possessive about every client. You work so hard. So when I think of a client like, let's say, Red Hat, when they came to India, we sat in this small little room as big as this, and I said, 13 years back, I said, Javed was the MD to Red Hat, and I said, I have no clue what Linux does. I have no clue what Red Hat does. And he said, don't worry, even we don't know too much. We'll make this journey together. Come on, let's figure out. And 13 years back, Google wasn't exactly what it is today, and access to information was not what it is today. And you have such a tricky product. How do you market it to its targeted, focused audience? And it took us some time to crack the whole focusing to CIOs and CTOs. We went about establishing training centers for them because we said the more people are going to use the product, the more they're going to go out and talk about it, more adoption in the market. And then it took a while before the first client came in. And the moment LIC came on, the moment Breach Candy Hospital came on, that kind of trust and that kind of credibility worked in the market.
Okay.
So that was a very interesting client for us because it was a product which actually had zero footing in our country. So, but otherwise, every client is as exciting and as challenging.
Red Hat has become a pretty big brand today.
Absolutely. So it's a matter of great pride today when we see them do something. It's a matter of Deloitte Consulting when they came here, we handled their attrition issues and communication. We took them to IIT, IIMs.
Okay.
Yes, we did. So every Apalia technology, when they came to us, we didn't really know how to bring that video platform to mobile and how to talk about it. So Axel Partners, everyone's an interesting client.
Fantastic. Okay, so you are a one-man woman army for entrepreneurs. I see a lot of events happening, and most of those events I'll see you're there in all those events, whether it's TIE or something like that over there. So tell us something about that.
Yeah. So you're right, whether it's TIE, whether it's SeedCamp from US, NASSCOM, 10K, I'm deeply involved and very passionately involved. And the reason being that when I branched out to become an entrepreneur, I had no clue what I was doing. There were no mentors. There were no international VC funds in the country. There was nobody to whom you could reach out. There was not even broadband. We had those dial-ups and, like
6.6K.
My Acer laptop weighed like 5.5, 6 kgs. And, we had no clue what we were doing. And I learned, through trial and error. Today, there are such bright young talent in the country and, they're exploding with ideas, and all they need is for people to truthfully sometimes guide them.
Yeah.
And I feel that this is a paid forward kind of emotion for me, where I feel it's responsibility of people like us to pay it forward and help in any form we can. Sometimes you just don't know what that 1 hour can really change for that entrepreneur. And I've experienced it. So we do workshops and then we follow up with people, and people who are really bright and who are really intent on learning. Sometimes it's amazing. You see someone get funded and you're like, yay, like we had something to do with it. We are glad.
Yeah, that feeling is really good.
Absolutely.
So one of the guys who's just joining us, he's on the way. So his company, when he started, he used to come here and we helped him as much as we could, and his company got funded. And first person he calls up, he said, sir, we got funding.
Sure.
So it's such a good, and he's put up my photo over there as a mentor and all this stuff. I said, these are things which money cannot buy. I mean, the kind of mileage you get, the kind of inner satisfaction you get with that, I totally agree with you on that.
I think there's another aspect to it as well, is sometimes telling an entrepreneur what he shouldn't do. Or even taking an idea and saying, hey, I don't think this is going to fly. And it's very tough, but I've had opportunities where I've had to say that, hey, go back and study. This is not going to fly. or sometimes I feel that the person, for whatever circumstances he's going through, he should take up a job and stabilize himself or herself and then come back. I think that is as critical as also telling them what to do. You should also be able to tell them what not to do.
Correct.
So, yeah.
Correct. So, which is your favorite platform, social media? Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram? And why?
All this is being recorded, isn't it?
Yeah, it's being recorded.
Yeah.
It's not going to be edited or censored also.
That's fine. Knowing me, you should know that I couldn't care less because, you know, we're in a field where we go to so many places, there's so many people we interact with. I really don't worry about, you know, what's edited or not. I think Twitter is a great platform for interaction if used well, because sky's the limit to whom you can reach out. Today I'm connected and I also ask or interact with, you know, investors and funds from US and UK, and you know, people are more than happy to interact. So it's a lovely instant gratification platform in terms of communication and, you know, getting responses, keeping yourself abreast of what's happening. Twitter is responsible for revolutions which have happened and, you know, governments thrown out. So I love that medium for that purpose. Facebook is great to, you know, put up pictures and see what's going on in people's life. Sometimes some gossip, you know, oh, come on, we all love it. Everyone's like sitting like saying, oh, no, I don't do that. Come on, we all do that, you know. So it's great for that. It's also great sometimes for people to reach out. I've had so many people who've reached out to me through Facebook saying, hey, we saw your picture at X forum. Can you help us with this? So yeah, I do use Instagram. I love to look at how witty people are getting at, you know, taking pictures. It's amazing. And we're talking of people who are not professional photographers. So I love seeing how everyday stuff gets transformed magically with people's imagination. But out of all the platforms, Twitter is my favorite if I really want instant gratification, interest, response. There have been times we've like asked for feedback, and it's just amazing how the community comes together and helps you out. So yeah.
So in order of appearances, first is Twitter, second is Facebook.
Facebook for sure. Then Instagram and
LinkedIn.
Well, I have kind of a split opinion on LinkedIn. It's great if you can filter out what you really want out of it and what kind of people you're interacting with. But just like Facebook or any other platform, I've had experiences where you also end up wasting a lot of energies and, you know, I have no idea who these people are, and then you get like random messages and random groups, and that can be slightly annoying. So yeah.
Good. I think everybody shares my thing on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Something about your family.
So yeah, very interesting. So I come from a family which places a lot of importance on, used to place a lot of importance on structured working and large organizations, and you know, I was a very bright student. I don't know how I did it, but I did, and I was a meritorious student, and I topped my school, my college, and all of it. So as I told you, my father was with the Reserve Bank of India, and he joined there as, you know, in those days as a first grade officer, and you know, he was a founding member of NABARD, founding team member of NABARD, and all of that. My brother worked with very large organizations, and he was with Tatas for 12 years and Mahindras, and then suddenly there was me, who just like woke up one day and said, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. And they were like, what is wrong with her? Are you okay? Did something happen at work? Did somebody say something to you? I'm like, no, I just want to be an entrepreneur. And they just couldn't understand, because they were like, I'm sure, you know, somebody said something to her at work, but well, they let me, the good thing is that they let me give it a shot. Not that I would have listened otherwise, but then it's very important sometimes to give young talent or a young mind that chance. What's going to happen? I mean, what's the worst which can happen? You'll fail, right? That's not the end of the world. But I'm glad they did, and I'm also glad that I got the education I got. That is one thing I would really like to talk about, and I say it at all the forums, that you know, this Steve Jobs complex, which a lot of young entrepreneurs have about, damn this, screw this, let's fire this person, let's drop out of school. No, I think some basic education, some structured education goes a very long way in whatever you want to do in life, even if you wanted to be a painter. So,
Okay. Whom do you admire as an entrepreneur?
tons of people. Even before I would go to a Steve Jobs, I would look at, there's so many people in our country. You take a Tata's, for example, you take a Bhavish Agarwal, for example, you take a Zomato, you take a Flipkart, look at they're changing the landscape of globally how startups are working. So, it's amazing the kind of people I see around me, Forget the people we're talking about. I mean, saying for a moment, even if I forget a Wipro and a Tata's and Mahindras and all of that, look at the people around us. Look at the people who are, younger to us and what they're really doing. So I have a lot of respect and a lot of admiration for all these guys who are breaking, and creating new benchmarks, breaking, preconceived notions about what India can really do, what kind of capabilities they have on a global landscape. So for me, that's very admirable. They're doing stuff. I mean, Book My Show, we'll talk about any of them, right? They're like giants today globally. So yeah, there are tons of them to name any one.
One person.
I can say one person whom I really admire, who carries himself extremely well. I don't know if Mr. Ratan Tata really qualifies in this, but I think people also have to learn that no matter how big they grow, there's certain humility and behavior one must carry about themselves. And it is possible to create an empire without VC funding. So that's one of the key reasons why I really admire people like them, that they've built empires and they have done it without billion-dollar funding. It is possible. It is possible. So, yeah.
Your relationship with Art of Living Foundation?
Yeah. So, I'm spiritual by nature, and I think that it's very, very important in today's lifestyle and stress and running around to take some time out for yourself, whatever you want to follow. It doesn't have to be Art of Living, but to spend some time just quiet and for some time for introspection, because the day is so cramped with so many things we are doing and so many people we are meeting, and we are exposed to so much news and so much of what's happening in the media that there is no time to spend with yourself. So for me, Art of Living, I think most importantly what it taught me was the true art of meditation. That's what I took away from it. So I don't care for cults or groups or specific spiritual practices, but I think even if you sit back for half an hour, breathe right and introspect, I think it has a very positive impact on your lifestyle.
I think the biggest thing is the meditation and the breathing. None of us know.
No.
We are not able to inhale that. I think if we try inhaling that, we exhale and start coughing with that particular thing over there.
100% of the people I see here are not sitting right. So, and I can guarantee you, therefore, that you're not breathing right. So, exactly. So, and that's the reason why I say that it doesn't matter what you're following, whom you're listening to. There's some amazing blogs, there are some amazing teachers, followers, whomever you want to read. Even if you look at it not as much as from a spiritual aspect, but as from a health aspect, I think it will go a long way. It teaches me to be very calm and very controlled in a lot of stressful situations. So
Punching that person, you just...
I have my ways. I don't have to punch. I can intimidate otherwise.
Okay, so this is the quick gun Sam, one witty answer.
Okay.
So, money,
Not everything.
United States,
Fun to travel.
men,
Oh man. My best friends actually. All of them.
Narendra Modi.
Phenomenal leader.
So this is one positive person. Somebody's going to be very happy over here because most of people who came, they said scary and all that kind of stuff and all over there.
Phenomenal leader, phenomenal orator. When was the last time you really heard a leader? Let's forget, his 1 year, sheet, right now assessing. When was the last time you heard a prime minister go to Madison Square and say, Jai Hind and Bharat Mata Ki Jai. You know, like we can't hear leaders talk like that anymore. Today, everybody, at least all the global leaders, know who the Prime Minister of India is, right? Change will come. Change does not come in 1 year, but change will come, and any change is good. Sometimes even certain upheavals and breaking certain, patterns, it's a good thing. Change will come. I just think he's a phenomenal leader.
And the best thing about it is his use of social media.
Absolutely.
The head of Nepal, he came to know that there's an earthquake over there because this guy tweeted,
Yes.
boss, there's an earthquake happened over there.
Absolutely.
So see the kind of thing he's done over there, especially if you go to China.
Yeah.
He's taken their Twitter and
Absolutely.
he's got some 40,000-50,000 followers over there and he's tweeting in Chinese, yeah.
No, it's phenomenal because I had a personal experience where there's something we are trying to do in health space. And I needed that message to just get seen by him first. And I reached out to the right person through Twitter, and it was sent across to him in the right channel and made sure that he read it all in a matter of 48 hours.
Oh.
When was the last time your Prime Minister was that accessible? So I think he's a phenomenal leader.
Fantastic. So do you think being a woman in India is much tougher to being an entrepreneur?
I think 13 years back, that would have been a more relevant question. Of course, I was much younger as well, and when I entered a Deloitte consulting meeting and there were all these partners sitting, they would wait and say, who else? Where's your boss? And I would say, only me, and I'm the boss. And that was a tough one at that time where you struggled sometimes for people to take you seriously. I think this question is getting irrelevant today. I think today talent is an equal play field. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, and I always say this in all forums that you're much better off not playing that card. Because today, who cares you're a man or a woman, if you have a great product, if you have a great idea, if you're working really hard, everybody is willing to give you a chance. So I really don't think it matters.
Okay. A word of advice to all the young entrepreneurs over here. This side is young, that side is slightly older and over there.
I would just say that things have changed dramatically and for the best, and sky's the limit to what people can achieve today. The use of internet has blurred geographical boundaries. You can write to anybody, you can reach out to anybody, you can read so much. Anything in the world you want to know is accessible. I mean, there's nothing which you can't get information about. India is a great place to be in right now. I'm personally terribly excited about the times we are living in. And all one needs to do is sometimes to work really hard and just don't be very fascinated by this everyday morning. We open the newspapers when we say, oh, $100 million, Yera, SoftBank and Tiger and all of this. Don't be very fascinated by it because there's much more to the journey than the funding. There's a lot of tears and struggles and sacrifices, isolation. You lose some family support, some friend support, your social life goes for a toss. What you're building as passionately might just sink overnight. Just be aware of all of that, and as far as you are willing to face each one of it with as much excitement as the $100 million funding, I think there's no better place and no better time for us to be entrepreneurs.
You feel that this right now is a kind of a bubble right now, and the bubble could burst? Because a lot of people are talking about this, like your .com 2000, what happened? So it's basically, one funding guy, he gets his money, he says, okay, boss, you're the next person, you take this, like that kind of stuff. Not all the companies, but there are a couple of companies which are that way. We are just, passing the thing around over there. So you think something like that could happen?
All buoyancy which comes with a lot of force at some time has to settle down. So I don't know if the bubble will burst or not, but I know that a lot of excitement happens. Every 2-3 years there's a certain trend. So suddenly there'll be e-com funding and everybody wants to do e-com. Right now, food and food tech. Everybody wants to do food and food tech. I think over a period of time, there will be some stabilizing of this pattern, and the big boys will survive who are looking at over 7 years, 10 years of stability. And especially in health and in education, only the people who have patience investing and who are looking that further away are going to survive. And there may be smaller ones who may not make it in the
Maybe bottom
long
or
run.
something.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your take? There's right now on entrepreneurs, there's a lot of talk going on housing.com and Rahul Yadav. So what's your take on that particular thing?
I think he's a kid who has no filter between his head and his mouth. And it happens. I think everyone's talking about it because no one in the startup system has behaved like this before. It happens in all other industries and people don't talk about it. Here we have this kid who, I don't know what happens to him every other morning when he wakes up and he has some interesting bite to give and everybody bites into that because at the end of the day, he's got that visibility because we are all reading about it, right?
Yeah.
So if we were not reading and talking about it, it would have died down. It happens when at a young age, you know, you're slightly irreverent about a few things, but it's a passing phase.
Okay. So you think it's going to, he's doing it for publicity? You think so?
I don't know what he's doing. I don't think he knows what he's doing it for. So, but yeah, look at the visibility he's got for housing.
Times of India front page.
I mean, everywhere from a Huffington Post to everybody's quoting him. So he's done a tremendous marketing job for housing for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so Azure, what's your path in the next 5 or 10 years? What are you looking for ahead?
So we hope, and I would like to believe that we've worked cross-industry with a lot of global organizations, with VCs, funds, peculiar clients, and startups and challenging clients. We hope that we'll be able to collate this entire experience of building organizations, building brands, and now be able to streamline it and track it onto something which we can make a change and make this country a better place to live in. So we are hoping to now do something exciting with all this experience in health startup space. So we will tell you soon what we are up to.
Thank you so much and all the best for Azure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on our show.
Thank you for your patience.
And this is from...
Oh,
for you.
hey, that's my first branded cup. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Picture opportunity.
Picture तो बनती है ना इसमें.
मेरी भी बनती है भाई ट्वीट करेंगे. Thank you.
संदीप हो गया. मुकुल.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank
Most
you.
welcome.
Thank you.